welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a great day. Today we're doing 5 things I hate about my Toyota MR-2 Spyder. I hate it. I don't hate this car. I really don't hate this car. I really like it. But I'm gonna give you 5 reasons that I don't like it and you might not like it as well. So let me grab my list and I'll tell you those 5 reasons. So the first one is gonna be someone that just bought this car, does not have a car like mine that I've owned for decades. That being said, what's the thing that I hate most? When I first got this car, I had a 1ZZ in it, naturally aspirated, slow, and actually my 1ZZ was blown up on it. So that was a good reason to swap on it. It was knocking bad. The whole 1ZZ was garbage on it, to be honest. You should have seen it when I drained the oil pan. There was a lot of junk in there. Anyways, that being said, I swapped it out for a 2ZZ. But about a year or two later, I was driving my 2Z around and there was a black one of these for sale and I was like, maybe I'll get another one. I went and test drove it. Oh my gosh, the 1ZZ on these things are pretty slow. They never really pick up either. There might be a little bit of low end torque where you might be able to do a burnout on it, but they're pretty slow. And I don't know why they didn't go ahead and decide, hey, you know what, we're gonna put a little bit more power on it, we're gonna put a supercharger on the later versions or something like that. But it was like 140 horsepower, 138 horsepower, which really wasn't enough for the type of car that this was. They should have gone maybe with just 160, 170. That would have really picked it up a little bit. But the lack of power on these things, it does suck. But if you have a 1ZZ, there's like a math mod you can do, there's some headers you can do, you can always throw some force induction on it. If you get this car up to 200 horsepower, blast. So much fun. It's quick, you know, 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds or 4.8 seconds. It's pretty quick actually. They're pretty fun. If you put a 2ZZ swap in it, that'll fix it. But that the lack of power, it really is. When people complain about it, it is a real thing, the lack of power. Reason number 2, you wouldn't be able to tell by my car. Why? Because I'm debadged. There's no badges that say Toyota on this. I actually don't even have a front badge on mine. I need to put it back on. I got a midship badge on it. But in the back, there's usually a big thing that says Toyota, a little badge, like right here, and it usually says Toyota on it, and then it'll say like MR-2 Spyder on it, and some people put like T or D or whatnot. I'm clean. I just run nothing on there, so nothing, it's all clean. But when you pull up to a gas station and someone says, what kind of car is that? And you go, it's a Toyota, and they go, no way, what? Just a Toyota? And they kind of say that, like just a Toyota. I mentioned that in my S2000 video, but yeah, this is the coolest Toyota ever made in my opinion. This thing was awesome. But they'll still take a picture of it. It happened to me yesterday. Some guy came up to me, what kind of car is that? It's so cool. You know, is it a kit car? No, it's a Toyota MR-2. And he's like, a Toyota? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that Toyota, you know, the Toyota makes such a cool looking car like that. And I was like, yeah. He took a photo of it, but you might not like that. But it is a dual sword thing where it's also Toyota, so you get Toyota parts, which are pretty reliable and pretty affordable. So it's a love-hate relationship. But me personally, I don't wish it was a different brand. I like Toyota, but it does have a little to it when you say it's just a Toyota. So that's the same thing with the S2000. Okay, so when I first bought this car, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a lot with it. I got big plans. I actually saw something similar to this build in Japan a long time ago, and I was like, ooh, I want something like that. Now, it didn't have the Lotus wheels on it, which I adore my Lotus wheels. There's only a few cars that I've ever seen done that. I was one of the first ones to put the Lotus wheels, I think, on this. They still fit, and believe it or not, I'm going to have a set sale. I might even sell these ones on the car to put my other ones, my other Lotus set that I have on here. But I think those are fabulous. Those look awesome. So yeah, I didn't really like the wheels on them, but that goes to my third point. Point number 3, things I don't like about it. The aftermarket scene for this car is small. Again, it's small. Evo's, huge. Honda Civic Si is huge. S2000 is huge. Dodge SRT, there's a lot of parts for that. You know, a lot of modified cars, there's a lot of good parts. This one, not very many. I chose the two, like the 2000 CELICA and the 2000 MR-2. Those are my favorite cars. So those are my favorite, the 2000s MR-2 Spyder and CELICA, but the parts on those cars are like aftermarket selection is so small. It's hard to find good aftermarket parts, and I really struggled that. There wasn't very many good websites where you could find any good aftermarket parts, and if there were, they're eaten up. But Monkey Wrench Racing, if you guys want to look by them, they've always been supportive of me, and I've always bought a ton of stuff from Monkey Wrench Racing, and they've always done pretty good with it. So that's a good part for aftermarket. A lot of their stuff though is towards power. Aesthetics wise, it's even harder to find things like that. So that was one of the complaints. For me to actually get to this, took like a decade to get to this look because the parts weren't readily available and they're hard to collect and find. So that was one of the issues that I didn't like about the car the most, is that the aftermarket scene, once again, I feel like these are kind of common reasons, but these are good reasons. If you're looking for a car that has a lot of parts that you can just slap on for an affordable price, this isn't gonna be that car. This isn't gonna be the car where you can go out and find a turbo kit or a supercharger just like that for an affordable price, or go and find a body kit just like this for an affordable price. You know, it's gonna take some, you might have to get one that's replica. You're not gonna get a, and it's not like there's like different sets of headlights. There's like the OEM sets, there's only 2. No one ever really made an aftermarket set of headlights. Like on the Celica, there's like 5 different ones you can get. There aren't any aftermarket headlights on it. Same with the taillights. Like no company ever said, you know what, we're gonna make a bunch of headlights for the MR2. So that's unfortunate. I wish a company would have done that, but the aftermarket is very small. So like I just mentioned, this is a 3rd generation Mark III, but reason number 4, no one likes this car. Like none of the MR2 fan people like ever really liked this car. They all like Gen 2. Everyone seemed to like the 2nd generation. And I know why. It's because it's turbo and had more horsepower, which was what I meant the reason earlier. And they all said that this one didn't look as good. A lot of them didn't like the headlights on this one, but I put like the lens on there, which I think makes, or the covers, which I think makes look good. But they didn't like this one as much. And they also didn't like it that there was no, which there is a hard top. But on the older ones, this is like a true convertible. The older ones that had this like Targa top that came up right here, this one was a true convertible where the whole top goes down on it. And so I think that it had a mixed reception. Some people didn't like that. It was more of a Miata, while the other MR2 was different. You know, this is the lightest version. This is the lightest version, but it didn't have enough horsepower. So even though it's lighter and better handling and whatnot, it just wasn't backed again by that horsepower. But I wish people like the 3rd gen. I get comments all the time on my post. Wow, you made me like the 3rd generation MR2 because it looks like this. They can all look like this, by the way. TRD, everything. But that was one of the things, is that I wish more people liked this. And I think it's just because they didn't all look like this. If they did all look like this, people would have jumped on this a lot more. Okay, so the final reason, 5, what I didn't like on this car, or what I don't like about it, is the OEM suspension is not good. No bueno. It is not good. What do I mean by that? When I first, going back to that car that I test drove, and I've driven a couple others since then, there's so much body roll on this thing. It's unbelievable. Like, I cannot believe they let you, or they sold that. I think it's because they were going for a little bit more of a touring. Like Toyota was like, oh, we're not gonna make this too hardcore. We're gonna make it a little bit more touring. But it's a bad suspension, to be honest. It needs to be replaced, at least with springs or something. It is so much body roll. It almost feels like you're on ice, or when you're going around a corner, you're like sliding through it. Like you can feel the body lift up like on the rear, or even on the front when you're going around. So that OEM suspension is really bad. I swapped mine out with K-Sport coilovers, which I highly recommend K-Sport coilovers. They're really, really good. But yeah, so that's my 5th reason. You guys can see I kind of struggled with this one. It was hard for me to actually find 5 reasons that I didn't like about it. Like thinking about the suspension, that was so long ago. I watched other videos where people they didn't like the plastic interior. I like the plastic interior. I love the interior on this car, to be honest, because I've had other Toyotas where it's like gray or faded. This one's all solid black. I think it's very aesthetic, so I do like the interior on it. But those are 5 reasons that I do not like my Toyota MR2 Spyder. Yeah, that's it. Make sure to hit the like button, guys, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.